Hey, this is David from the Alamo here. Those of you who've been running a semi-automatic handgun for a little while, or those of you who are new to shooting and have taken your gun out to the range, may have experienced you shooting your gun and it not going bang when it's supposed to. Something, and usually people will call the range officer over, have them fix it. We call them jams. The formal name for it is a stoppage. Stoppage in a semi-automatic handgun is a temporary interruption of the cycling of the gun. Doesn't allow it to cycle, and it's easy to fix. Malfunction, on the other hand, is something that's, say, broken in the gun that might require an armor or gunsmith to fix. Anyway, when it comes to temporary stoppages in the gun, there are common things that happen as a result of, say, the gun being dirty, maybe somebody not holding the gun properly, defective ammunition. It can be a variety of things. I'm going to go over 4 common stoppages today and how to fix them when you're out on the range. It's important for you, as you become more familiar with shooting, to be able to fix these efficiently, safely, and quickly. Now, for those of you who are advanced shooters, you already know what I'm talking about, and there are so-called high-speed ways of fixing some of these stoppages. This video is more for the beginner, the intermediate beginner. So I'm just going to show you one way to fix each one of these. I'm going to explain what's happening with it, how to fix it, and then as you become more advanced, you can get into a little bit more of the tactical, for lack of a better word, way of fixing these quickly when you're running and gunning. Okay? First one. Now, you'll often see this with new shooters. They'll load their handgun. They'll grab the slide, and then they'll ease the slide forward because they don't want the gun to accidentally go off. Well, first of all, that's not going to happen unless your finger's on the trigger. When you load a handgun, you actually want to let the slide fly forward with full force because the round relies on the full force of the slide to chamber the round in the firing chamber. So if you baby the slide forward, you may get what's called out of battery. Okay, especially if the gun is dirty. As you can see, the slide is out of alignment with the frame of the gun. This one's pretty easy to fix. Okay, tap it. When it's out of battery, the gun won't fire. Okay, I'm pulling the trigger now. It's just a mushy trigger. I put this in battery, and now the gun will fire. If you tap the slide to put it back into battery and it does not go back into battery, it could be a bigger issue, like something obstructing the firing chamber. So you don't want to force it. But normally, if it's just a matter of a dirty gun, just tap it. It'll go right back into battery. Okay, so next one. I'm sure you've all experienced this before. You point the gun out, pull the trigger, click, no bang. What happened? That could be a lot of things, okay? That could be defective ammunition. It could be as simple as you forgot to chamber the round, okay? I get this with a lot of new students. They put a magazine in the gun, and they just bring the gun up and pull the trigger. Well, they forgot to cycle the gun. It can also be a magazine that has not been seated. In other words, you put the magazine in the gun, but you don't put it in all the way, and the stripping rail does not grab the round when the slide goes forward, so you have an empty chamber. So for click, no bang, pretty easy fix, okay? We're going to tap the magazine to make sure that it's seated. Then we're going to obviously cycle the gun, and then the gun is good to go, okay? The reason we tap the mag every time is because the click, no bang can be a variety of things. Instead of taking the time to sit there and try and assess exactly what's going on, it's just going to be immediate action. Tap the mag and rack. Okay, tap rack. Next, you've probably all seen this before. Okay, we call that a stovepipe, and in this case, you got your classic vertical stovepipe. A empty casing has failed to clear the ejection port and is now stuck between the barrel and the slide here, and of course, preventing the gun from firing. That's a vertical stovepipe, but you can also get a horizontal stovepipe. That's where the casing is in there horizontally and you can't actually see it, but you will see the gun out of battery. You'll be able to assess it, okay? So once again, I'm just going to do one way of doing this. The high-speed method is you can sweep this, but for those of you who are beginners, I don't want you to get cut or do anything that's going to get you hurt on the gun. So the easy fix for this is going to be assess. I go to shoot. I assess the stoppage. All I'm going to do is tilt and rack. Now watch what happens. Two things came out of the gun, right? The empty casing and a live round. So now the gun will fire. No problem. But I just ejected a live round onto the ground. So that's kind of the sacrifice. One round on the ground. As you know, getting the gun running is the most important thing. Okay? Finally, save the best for last here. The dreaded double feed. Okay. This one's going to take a little explanation. Basically, to explain it in simple terms, you've got two rounds fighting to get in one chamber there. Okay? So, let me show you the fix first, okay? If I try to hit the magazine release, the mag is not going to come out of the gun. And the reason for that, of course, is that I've got the slide applying pressure to the round and it's fighting up against the other round that has come loose and is trying to get into the chamber as well. So mag's not going to come out. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to lock the slide back, take the pressure off. Now the magazine will come out easily. And a lot of times gravity will fix the situation, but just to make sure, I'm going to rack that slide a couple of times to make sure. Now, here's where we got to sort of assess a little bit. A high percentage of double feeds are a result of a bad magazine. So, one option is I can now take this magazine that I retained, put it back in the gun, charge the gun, and in this case, it'll fire because I knew it was a good magazine. However, if it is a magazine problem and I put it back in the gun and charge it, could induce another stoppage in the gun, another double feed, right? So, if you have another source of ammunition on your person, I'm going to discard the magazine out of the gun. The reason I retained it is because a high percentage, I'm going to say most armed citizens that are have a concealed weapons license, do not carry an extra magazine on their person. So if you get in the habit of ripping the mag out and discarding it, you now have a paperweight in your hand that I suppose you could throw at the threat, but it's not going to do you much good because you just threw away all your ammo. So that's why I reinserted and charged the gun. And that's what I'm going to recommend, at least for starting off. And that's pretty much it. So those are 4 common stoppages that you find in semi-automatic handguns. If you decide to practice those at home, I highly recommend that you start using snap caps before you start doing it with live ammunition. Once you get confident with the manipulation and handling of the gun, then you can actually practice some of those on the range. Stay safe. We have lots of classes available. If you need further instruction, sign up for a private lesson, and we'll be looking to see you at the range. Stay safe.